Hi guys, so I'm just going to start as I usually do with a little primer. This is the MAC Skin Base Visage Prep and Prime. So this is just a nice primer. It works pretty much for everybody, and I'm a big believer in primer these days, both for longevity and just for the way the foundation goes on. So next, all part of priming, I am using MAC Painterly Paint Pot. It's kind of upside down, but it's basically just a cream eyeshadow that's pretty close to my skin color, and I like these paint pots because I think they work so well as a primer, and also they last forever, like forever. I've not had to replace this, and it's something I use all the time. And then again, a little bit of the lip primer I use too. Just going into the foundation, this is just the L'Oreal True Match in N2, which is neutral 2, and this is a good color for me just right now. This time of year I have pretty much no tan. And then this is my new Sigma F80, which is just a nice brush that works really well to buff it in. I had heard so much great stuff about this brush on YouTube that I really had to try it. And it's really good. I think it's very similar to the Makeup Geek one I have, to be honest. This is a little bit of the Pro Longwear Concealer, and I believe I am using NC20. Yes, NC20 is what I'm using right now. I'll sometimes use like an NW15 or an NC20. That's pretty much my color. Usually the C's, you go a little bit higher. And then the NWs you drop a little bit because the warmth adds a little more color. So I'm just, I'm using this, just kind of like anywhere I need it. And then I'll take the same foundation, Sigma F80, and I'll just buff that in. And I use the same brush because it really just blends everything together. So now just moving on to the brows. This is the MAC brow pencil. This is like one of the newer ones. It's not the Stilo. It's an actual pencil that you sharpen. And I really prefer it over the automatic ones. And the other end has a little spoolie that you can kind of blend it in. And I use actually the deep dark brown for my brows, and then I'll go over a little bit with this Anastasia brow powder. So I'll use the pencil and then I'll use the powder, and I just find that it just really kind of makes it look best because you can see it's still a little uneven because my brows are so sparse. So I use the combination of the two, and I find that it fills it in the best. All right, so this I am excited about. This is my Makeup Geek palette. I bought like the full Monty, so you get all these colors and you get the Z palette to put them in, and you can kind of organize it anywhere you want. So you can see this is just the way I configured it, but you can pop them out as needed. You can even transfer them to a smaller palette if you just want to bring a few. This color I'm using is Peach Smoothie, and it's just a really nice kind of like peachy, it's not matte, but it's not shimmery. It's kind of like got a soft pearlescence to it, in my opinion. And I just put this all over the lid, all over where I put the Painterly paint pot. And it just kind of adds a little bit of warmth, but not, it still keeps the background pretty much, open and clean because I'm going to be doing a red lip. So I'm going to keep the eyes, not too much. This is kind of like a taupey purple. I would describe it as, called Unexpected. It's also another Makeup Geek shadow. These shadows are really fantastic, by the way. And I'll buff this with a MAC 217 brush just right into the crease. And I just kind of buff that in just to add a little definition, but not a whole lot. This is just a nice soft brown pencil. This is the Kat Von D one, and I'm liking it a lot. I sharpen it really sharp, and then I can get like a nice dark defined line on my top lid. So I kind of just do that along the outer, I'd say half, and then I bring it in a little bit, but I start to widen it and flick it up at the outer half. And I sort of create like a wing, but it's a little softer than doing it with like a liquid or a gel liner. So that's why I'm using the pencil today, because I don't want it to be too harsh. So I've done basically the same thing on both sides, and you can see I've got like a little bit of a wing. So now I'm taking the MAC 266, that slanty brush, the 266 rather, and I am dipping it in a dark, dark brown shadow, also by Makeup Geek. All the shadows I'm using are Makeup Geek today. And this is called Bada Bing, and it's a really dark, warm brown. It's got a little bit of sparkle in it, but you really can't see the sparkle once it's applied. It's really much only visible in the pan. And I'll take that MAC 266 and I'll just put it all along where I did the liner, and then I'll take my 217 and I'll kind of just buff out the excess. So it just sort of like softens everything. And I don't have a lot of product on the brush. I'm just kind of taking what's left and buffing it in. And then I'm just taking, this is just a Laura Geller face powder. Actually, this is the Balance and Brighten. And I'm taking a really fluffy, it's a MAC 244, just a fluffy brush. And I dip that in just my face powder. And that helps to kind of soften everything. Because again, I'm keeping the eyes really, really soft because I'm going to do a really strong lip. So I don't want anything crazy to compete. The same Laura Geller Balance and Brighten powder. And then this is the the Makeup Geek brush that I was talking about. This is another good foundation brush, but I'm also using it as my powder. So I'm just taking that Balance and Brighten and I'm just putting it all over my face. It gives me a little extra coverage, and then it also helps to just kind of like blend everything in, and it gives me like a matte finish but not too cakey. Curling the lashes, of course, this is like the most important step. I always try to tell my mom to curl her lashes because I think it makes such a big difference. So if you're not curling your lashes, do it. It'll open your eyes up and just make your lashes look amazing. This is the Rimmel Scandaleyes Black Mascara. It's pretty good. It's got a nice big brush, as you can see, so I like that. It makes it very efficient. The mascara formula, I'm liking it more and more. Like I've talked about before, sometimes when you open a mascara, it's really wet, and then you use it for a couple of weeks and it dries out just a little bit, so you get like a nice ability to sculpt the lashes as you put it on, and that's kind of where I'm at right now, so I'm liking it. So then this is my Nars lipstick. It is called Cinematic Red, and it's from the Guy Bourdin collection, which is limited edition. It is available right now. I'm loving this red. It's very similar to like a MAC red, I would say. And then I'm basically just taking my MAC Brick liner. Brick is a good liner with it, I find. Also, Cherry would work very, very well, but I use Brick because I want it a little bit darker. So I do the lipstick first over my Prep and Prime lip, which is very good if you're wearing a red lip. And then I'll line, and then I'll do another coat of the lipstick. And then that's going to last you a really long time. And I really press my lips together so it really kind of like pushes it into all the cracks and stuff like that, especially this time of year. But the lipstick, it's nice. It's not too dry. Like some of the MAC lipsticks, because of their formulas, they're a little dried out. But this one's got a nice bit of moisture. So I'm doing my blush after I do my lips because I knew I wanted the red lip and I wanted to kind of like check out how the eyes and lips are doing. So after I did that, then I applied the blush, and then I just kind of used like a peachy tone, you know, just very, very light because I don't want to look like a clown. So because I have such a, you know, statement lip, I kept everything else, you know, kind of on the more toned down side. So I hope you like it. Thanks so much.